It is so great to be back with you for actually I believe this is my fourth season of Simply Felicity. Got to take a little bit of a holiday break, but now I'm back with you with more guests and more just ideas about how to make our dreams come true. And I am being joined now by a very good friend of mine, her husband, who I've gotten to know now independently, and I'm excited about some work we're going to be doing together. I'll be letting you know about that through the show. But let's welcome Eric Beschinski. Great to
Hi.
have you.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks, Felicity.
Well, the first thing I wanted to find out was you recently started this business here, and I know that prior to that, you were working and your job basically got released through this whole sort of COVID season. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Is that something that you would say was like a happy accident or something like that? So many people like really want to quit their jobs or would like to start a business, but it's when something like this happens, it's that divine push, and that helps them not have to make that really hard decision. Was it like that for you or a little bit different?
Yeah. It was very similar. I really loved my job. I was working for, as of all things, a credit card processor, but I was in sales training and I did a lot of spreadsheets and math and statement analysis. But I also worked with sales reps all around the country, and
Hmm.
I was at it. It was a great fit for my skill set. Probably the first time in my entire life that I was working in a job that was really utilizing my skill set and what I'm good at. So I
Wow.
was really comfortable there and happy there. Worked from home, had benefits, good pay, all that stuff. So when COVID hit and I was furloughed for 3 months, there was a moment of panic, and because furlough means no pay. But with the unemployment and different things that were available, I decided to look at that as an opportunity. And so I took that time to work on some projects that I hadn't had time to work on, including a siding project for a rental house. But more importantly, I wrote the book that I've now published and is part of what I do. So that was the beginning of it. I intended and really thought I was going back to work beginning of August. So I operated with that mindset. But then when that didn't happen, I decided, you know what, I don't really want my destiny and my future in the hands of anyone else. It's fine to be in the hands of God, but other people,
Right.
not so much. Especially big companies. They've got to do what's best for their bottom line and their shareholders. And so I decided I wanted to be more independent than that. So I took this business that I've actually had for a long time, but it was just kind of sitting on the side, doing some real estate investing and things like that, and decided to really take it to what I always intended it to be. And that is a coaching consulting company where I'm working with organizational leaders. So that's what I've done, and that's what I'm doing.
So exciting. And tell me what has been different about owning your own business than what you expected.
Well, this isn't my first rodeo. I've had my own business other times, but one of the hardest things, at least for me, and I'm assuming it's for other people as well, is building that audience. I mean, so much is done, especially now with this pandemic, on social media and online, and so building an audience from scratch is pretty difficult. Getting followers, getting people that'll hear your message. I believe in my message. I think it's good. I think it provides value for people, but getting it into their hands is the tricky part. So that's been a difficulty, a struggle, and will continue to be, because there's always more people to reach, right?
I
So
know.
yep. So it's just a matter of, finding the right avenues for doing that. And of course, starting out, I do everything myself. I was just thinking about that before we started here, that, I've become a very, very, very small videographer, graphic artist. I do all this stuff myself because I just don't have the resources yet to pay everyone to do all the things I want done. So I just do them. So I
Right.
learn on the go. And I'm getting back into Illustrator, which is something I've never really wanted to do, but I can do it. So Adobe Illustrator for graphics, and so I do my own illustrations and graphics and everything. So it's just one of those things where, boy, I can't wait till I can pay other people to do those things. But in the meantime, it's just part of it.
Absolutely. And so, what are some of the things I know you've had, you're already working with clients. What is one of your favorite parts about being a business coach?
Well, it comes down to my purpose in life and work as well, and that's helping others, specifically helping organizational leaders in particular, but all people understand what their purpose is and help fulfill that. That's my passion. A lot of people have a passion for a cause or a passion for an industry or a passion for whatever it is they're doing in life. My passion is helping other people reach theirs. So for me, that's exciting, and helping entrepreneurs and small business owners understand what they are trying to accomplish and a path to get there. That's what my book and my methodology is all about.
That's awesome. Well, let's dig into it a bit because one of my passion is to help other people make their dreams come true. And it always starts right now. It's not like once I get blah, 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 then I will be able to do it. And I love your story. I think taking advantage of the time you were given, but also being able to get over the mindset of losing a job that you really enjoyed, I think is a really big deal. It may be easier for those who hate their jobs and lose it to go ahead and get started in what they wanted to do, but you really had to pivot and think about that situation differently. So, I mean, I just think that's a great, example to show other people that, it can be done. Like you can lose a job that you really enjoyed and actually turn it into something better.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to quit your job and start your business, but I would definitely encourage anybody who's not operating in their what I call the ideal destination, trying to get to that ideal destination. Yeah, if you're not working towards that right now, find a way to do that, because that doesn't necessarily mean you have to quit your job and start a new business. A lot of people, their job, their income is a means to accomplish that. So you have to figure out what that is for you, for every individual person, and determine where they want to go, and then a path to get there. And for me, I'm a systems guy. I think the solution to almost any problem is a system. And so if you don't have a system, create a system, or buy a system, or use a system, whatever, because systems will help you not only get where you're going, but figure out how to get where you're going. And that's a lot of times the issue is people have this dream that they want to accomplish, but they don't know how to get there. So
Well,
it's
that's why
huge.
they need you, right? And
Absolutely.
but I do want to just say, like, if you don't like your job and you have a different dream, I think beginning right now, using your words, to that final destination will give you so much more joy in what you're doing, knowing what it is that you're working toward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think a lot of organizations and people, but in particular organizations are so they're so busy operating their business that they don't ever stop to think about where they're going with their business. And unfortunately, what that leads to is burnout and ultimately heartache, because they don't have a higher purpose that they're working towards. It doesn't matter what kind of business it is. You can be a restaurant owner, but have a desire to do something huge, something big, and the rest. I mean, the owner CEO of McDonald's is noted as saying that they make hamburgers in order to buy real estate.
Yeah,
So
right.
their ideal definition was about real estate, but hamburgers were just a vehicle to get there.
Absolutely. I mean, if you just wanted to feed people, you could do that at home. You could also work at a food shelter. So there's something more specific when you decide to open a restaurant. So show us the book, tell
Yeah.
me the title, and what's it all about?
So this is the book. It's called The Inauguralist Guide for Organizational Navigation. You can't really see the text there, but go to inauguralist.net, which is up on the screen over here, and it takes you there. It's a very short book because it's really more of a guide. There's a lot of information packed into the pages, including some worksheets at the back. So it's not a heavy read. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's heavy. It's just not a lengthy read. So you can get through it pretty quickly, but not if you're actually applying it, because it's a process. It's actually my entire system, what I coach and train people to do, put into a book format.
So would this be like, this be an example of a system that
yes,
people
absolutely.
could implement to get where they want to go?
Absolutely. And so the shape, you can see, I got a point here because it's weird on the screen. It reverses. Sorry, it's over here.
Yeah, there you
go. The diagram is something that came into my head about 13 years ago. I was working for a sales training company that was developing a training module for leaders, and they asked me to help develop that. And so I'm looking through resources and trying to piece things together. And everybody already knows about, values and mission and vision and goals. And these are the tried and true strategic planning processes that everyone's familiar with. What I found lacking, though, was that there was nothing that tied it all together and did so in a visual way. So that's what I created. I had an epiphany one day, and I'm sitting at home and I'm thinking about this whole thing, and I come up with this idea of the Nautilus, which is about the only geometric shape of any kind where you can progressively work your way in and out, and it also is all touching the center. And that's key to this whole methodology, because as you work from the red block, which is your ICOMP, okay, integrity compass, and you work your way inward to the center, which is green, and those are your I tasks, your immediate tasks. All of that, the whole idea is it's taking from the more general to the more specific, but it's all connected and it all integrates. And so it's the iNautilus, the integrated Nautilus. And so everything has a meaning and everything has a purpose, and it is a system. And the reason that they have their own terminology, I have my own terminology for these things, is that what I've also found over the years is everybody thinks that they know what a mission is and what a vision is and what goals are. And I don't want to have to go around and redefine your definition for these terms or tell you you're wrong, because that's not the case. But when working in a system, you have to have clearly defined terminology. And so I've taken those tried and true strategic planning concepts, renamed them, and defined them clearly within my system so that you can progressively work your way through and not miss anything.
Nice. And what is the dot on the outside?
So that's the big red dot, right? So on a map, if you think about a map, you've got the "you are here" dot on a map. That's the starting point. You can't get to wherever it is you want to go unless you first identify where you are. And so I use the vacation analogy in my book and in my training and coaching. And if you think about your business planning as a vacation, right? You're going on a vacation with your family. The very first thing you really do, even if you don't write it down or even talk about it, is you have core values for your vacation, right? What's important to you in vacationing? And so you work from there, and eventually, if you do it the right way, then you'll come up with an ideal destination for your vacation, right? And so that's you're wanting to go. But before you can plan a route how to get there, you have to know where you're starting from. Because if you want to go to Disneyland, but you don't know if you're in Northwest Indiana or California or Alaska or Italy, then you can't plan a route. It's impossible. Right. So that's the big red dot. And then the X is just kind of the X marks the spot when you've reached your ideal destination, which is the blue segment up here. That is what sorry, pointing badly. The blue.
You're on it.
Ideal, and so everything has a purpose and a part in the system. And so, yes, you can read the book and go through it, and it explains everything in detail and has the worksheets in the back, but it really is much more suited towards a coaching and working through it with somebody who's really familiar, because as I'm finding with the people I'm coaching right now, there's just so much detail, and it's so difficult for a business owner to take a step back and look at this from an aerial perspective. And so I can help do that.
Very good. Yeah, absolutely. And is it good for somebody who's maybe starting and planning a business, hasn't even gotten started yet?
Sure. Yeah, obviously that there are some challenges in that, because it's because I'm going through that right now. I'm using my own system, but I'm kind of in the beginning stages of my business as a coaching model. And so things change, and that's okay, because again, plans change, right? So this is not in stone. Even if you work through the entire process and you have all the statements written down and you have it all put together, our plans change. Obstacles come in the along the way, and detours, and I talk about this in the last chapter of the book. You could be halfway to your iDesk and God says, you know what, I want you to go this way now.
Right.
Okay, so you have a new big red dot wherever you are in the middle of the ocean, and here's where you need to go. And so you create a new iDesk and you figure out how to get there.
So that very thing is an excuse I've heard from a number of Christians of why not to plan. And so I've come up with my own rebuttal. I want to hear from you as well. But there's a scripture that says, man plans his way, but the Lord determines his steps. Now, a lot of scriptures can be very well understood backward as well. So what if you don't plan? Maybe then you don't get the steps from God, because and you're a lot less likely to move without any type of plan as well, because you're just kind of not sure, right? But even if you do just start going willy-nilly, right? It's like it says that if you plan your way, you could maybe put an if there. If you plan your way, he will determine your steps. I've at least seen it experientially from people that the more they plan, the more guidance they get, right? That doesn't work quite as well without the plan. That's what I've seen. What do you think? Because like I said, a lot of people, they're like, I was just gonna change it anyway.
Well, and that very well may be the case, but not necessarily. I mean, part of the problem, I think, is that a lot of people are not operating in or about what they were designed for. And I think every person was designed for something. And, part of it is our American culture, and part of it is, affluence, and part of it is laziness. And I mean, there's a lot of reasons why people don't ever find out what they were designed to do, but we were created to work. And a lot of people don't know that, don't understand that human beings were created to work. We were created to tend the garden and to subdue the earth and cultivate it and work this planet. That's what we were put here to do. And that is all work. It was the fall just made it hard.
Yeah, right.
It was all part of the plan. We were here to do stuff. And so we have that in us innately. We want to do things. We want to be and do what we were designed for. And so discovering what that is, and that kind of comes back to this whole idea of planning as well. I love to work with churches. Because I feel like there are a lot of churches out there that don't really know where they want to go. And they need this type of strategy and strategic planning process, but they don't think they do, because when you ask them what their purpose, well, it's to
serve God,
right? It's to love God and love others. Okay, yeah, that's the whole church's purpose. That's right. Everyone. That doesn't explain why you exist on the corner of Main Street in Chesterton, Indiana, or wherever. There's no Main Street, but the point is, every organization needs to know why that organization exists, for what purpose. And same for an individual. We each have a purpose. It's part of that bigger purpose, but there's something you and I are designed to do specifically in that purpose. And so discovering what that is, I mean, yes, I can help with that. I'm working on my next book, which is brings this much more down to a personal level. And it's the same methodology, but it's just retooled a little bit. So that one's going to be released soon. But for those who are really seeking that, I love the book Chazon. Chazon is how it's pronounced. It's a Hebrew word. It comes from that verse in Proverbs. Nope, not Proverbs. I think it's Jeremiah. Without a vision, the people will perish.
That's Proverbs 29:18.
Right,
one of my
all right,
favorites.
Yep, one of mine too. I always think it's not Proverbs for some reason. But anyway, so without a vision, that people will perish. That word vision is tough to translate into English. The word is chazon. And
Can you spell that?
Chazon, I believe.
Okay. Keep
and
going.
There's a book by Craig Groeschel. He's a pastor, and he wrote a book with that title. And it's all about discovering your personal purpose, what God has designed you to do. I've read it. I've applied those principles. It's an excellent resource. And that for me was kind of where I decided that, you know what, because I'm not real passionate about going out and feeding the world or ending suffering in this way or that way, but I am really passionate about helping other people do that and help, identify what that is. So it really boiled it down for me, and it's got some unique methodologies in there. So all that to say, as far as being a believer and a planner, I can't. Let me give you another example. Because I've worked in tech in churches before, video projection, lyrics, and stuff like that. And you tend to work with a lot of more artistic people who are much more about, just let the Spirit move and it'll do whatever. And so if we're going to be here for 3 hours, we'll be here for 3 hours. And then there are those of us who are much more structured and organized and like things on a schedule that say, no, we have to get out by this time because, there's another service coming in, or there's a radio show program. So, we've got to end at a certain time, or they're just going to cut us off the air. Like, there are practical reasons why, somebody like me appreciates a schedule. And there are two sides of that equation, right? Well, I don't know. I've always said, they were like, oh, well, you got to leave room for the Spirit to move, right? That's kind of the argument for, well, my God's big enough that if he wants to stop the sun and let that service go on for half a day and still will get us out on time, he can do that. So it's part of, and I don't want to minimize, I'm not criticize.
You say, I'll up my faith, I'll up your faith.
Right.
I'll see your faith. I'll stop the sun. I love it.
God is a God of order, and he makes that evident in this creation. Everything is balanced on the head of a pin, and anything just slightly off, and all life ceases to exist. Amazing. And so this is, everything is very orderly, but a little bit of chaos thrown in there is okay too. So we've got to be okay with both.
Very good. So we've got an event coming up. I'm very excited that you invited me to be a part of this inaugural inauguralist event. Tell us about it.
Okay. So the inauguralist Convoy 2020 is, I've always wanted to do live, on a stage, speaking engagements, that kind of thing. That was the ultimate plan with my organization. But again, things don't always go as planned. And with the pandemic and all this stuff happening, everything going virtual, I actually attended, a month or two ago, a virtual seminar. Mm-hmm. And it was, again, one of these things that normally is in person and live, and, you pay $300 or whatever for a ticket. You go to this thing and you hear speakers for 2 or 3 days, and you have travel and hotels and all the thing. Well, this influencer was doing this online for free and just put it out for 3 or 4 days, 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours a day. He's bringing speaker after speaker, and it's all on Zoom and Facebook Live and stuff. And I sat back, I'm like, well, I can do that. Yeah. I don't have to wait for 3 years until I've got a huge audience, enough people to get to a hotel somewhere at a conference center. I can do that now. And I think it's needed now. And so I think there's a lot of fear and angst over this pandemic and the economy and all the things happening in our world. And so I decided to launch this inauguralist Convoy 2020 with the theme, "The Future's So Bright." So it's looking to 2021 and say, look, there is opportunity here and we need to find it. So let's have a positive mindset and work towards an amazing 2021. But let's start that right here, right now. So that's kind of where it's going. I've got great speakers. You're one of them. I'll be talking about the inauguralist during one session, but got a total of 7 speakers lined up. It's split up over 6 days. So it's going to be on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, starting on the 7th of December. So the 7th, 9th, and 11th, and then again the 14th, 16th, and 18th. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 a.m. Central Time. So that's it's early, but that's on purpose.
Yeah, right.
Less interference with people's day and their work and that kind of thing. It should be 1 to 1.5 hours each morning, and then a different speaker each day. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be great information. It's going to be very valuable for everyone who attends, and I can't wait.
It's awesome. It's just a great way to work on your business a little bit, not just in your business. And if you're an entrepreneur, it's a valuable tool to be able to be given to be able to do this. So yeah, we encourage you, December 7th, take some time out for yourself. 7 a.m. It will not interfere likely with any of your meetings. What were you about to say?
I was just saying, it's not just for business owners. So I really want this to be, yes, there's a lot of business focus to it, but one gentleman is speaking on sales. And part of his message, and I was intentional about this, is that everyone's in sales.
Yeah,
I don't care who you are, you're in sales. Even if it's selling yourself to an interviewer or selling an idea to your employer, to your boss, your manager, whatever, everyone is in sales. So there's valuable content for any leader, not just the entrepreneur. Obviously, that's where the focus is, but I don't want people to think, well, I don't run a business, so it's not going to be valuable for me. That will absolutely not be the case.
Awesome. Awesome. Just if you're wanting to maybe bring more definition to your 2021, right? And be able to approach all these opportunities there and be able to see them as they arise. Awesome. Well, we look forward to that. I'm very excited about that. Encourage you all to register. I go to inauguralist.net and they'll be able to register there.
Yeah, that takes you to the inauguralist page, and it all goes to my website, which is greenfireinnovations.com. But there is an actual convoy. So if you go to greenfireinnovations.com/convoy, that'll take you right to the page with all the information, all the speaker profiles, and you can register from there.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm gonna put that in the comments as well, and make sure everyone can get registered up. Eric, thank you so much for your time. It's been a very exciting discussion, and I believe gave people some value today. So thank you.
Good. Appreciate it. Well, thank you for having me. I always love this kind of stuff. I'm one of those weird people that loves public speaking, so I would love to do this on a stage or in front of an audience. That's fun for me. But yeah, as long as we are doing Zoom, I'll do it that way too.
Exactly. So you know where to reach Eric for any engagements like that, and you can certainly check him out. A little over a week, Convoy will be starting, so we'll look forward to that.
1 week from today.
1 week from today. There you go.
Yep.
We'll see you guys there. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Felicity.
Bye-bye.